Hey guys, JamesMCD Reviews here. Welcome to another episode of the Cinematic Bucket List series, and today we're rounding out our look at the Rocky series by taking a look at the Creed movies. First and foremost, if you haven't seen the last two episodes, be sure to check out part 1 where I take a look at Rocky 1, 2, and 3, and be sure to check out part 2 where I take a look at Rocky 4, 5, and Balboa. Starting off, appropriately enough, with Creed, released in 2015, directed by Ryan Coogler. This one stars Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed. He's just come out of a juvenile center as a kid because of various anger issues and fighting problems. His mom comes and picks him up, and as he grows up, he decides that he wants to follow in his dad's footsteps and be a fighter, but he doesn't want to take on the Creed name because of all the expectations that come with it, and he kind of wants to make it on his own terms. And he calls upon Rocky, played once again by Sylvester Stallone, to train him. But as the movie goes on and word gets out about who he really is, more and more pressure gets put on him to do well in his upcoming fight. I think taking this series in the reboot direction was probably the smartest idea from WB and everyone involved, because I feel like with Rocky Balboa, it ended the series on a very strong note for Rocky, the character. So having it be about, Apollo Creed's son was a very smart move. And I think that the themes of this movie about, building your own legacy and being stuck in someone else's shadow are themes that we've seen in some of the other Rocky movies, particularly 5 and Balboa. But I feel like here it's a lot more effective because Donnie has never gotten to know the person that he is in the shadow of. So it kind of makes him harder to get out of a person's shadow when you have no idea, who that person is. And added on top of that, having, the multiple-time heavyweight champion Rocky Balboa as your coach, is only going to get even more eyes on you. And it adds a lot of pressure on Donnie, and I think he overcame that very well. And Michael B. Jordan, good God, if I hadn't seen him in Black Panther first, and I had seen this first, I would be yeah, keep this kid around. He's gonna go places as an actor. I think him and Stallone have really great chemistry in the same way that Stallone and Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed in the original series, had really great chemistry. Bringing back the aged Rocky from the later movies was also a very smart move. I like what they're kind of doing with his character, how, he's at peace with himself. He doesn't really want to go back into the fighting life, and then here comes the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed, asking him to train him and everything like that. And Rocky's even dealing with his own struggles when he gets diagnosed with cancer and everything like that. That whole dynamic that forms between them is really really cool and really sweet. I think the fight scenes are filmed a lot more cinematic in this one. In the earlier Rocky movies, yeah, they were very Hollywood in how they were choreographed and how they were not pretty in the slightest. They were a lot of haymakers being thrown and everything like that, but this one you could tell they really took their time with the technicals, not just in terms of the fighting styles and the choreography, but even how they're shot. That one fight scene towards the middle of the movie between Creed and Gabriel Rosado, who's an actual boxer, that's all done in one take, was fucking fantastic. I think that might be one of, if not the coolest fight scenes in all of the Rocky movies. And of course the fight at the end between Creed and Ricky Conlon, played by Tony Bellew, again another actual boxer. That one, it struck a good balance between the more cinematic camera angles and also having it look like a proper boxing match that you would see on TV. I also really like the new love interest, Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson. I think her and Donnie have great rapport off of each other. They're very cute together. She even has her own sort of struggles as with her progressive hearing loss, and how that plays forward into the next movies going forward. I think is a really interesting move with that character. And yeah, I don't really have much to complain about. I think it was a really good movie. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was well shot. It took the series in a very different, much needed reset and a new direction. And it started up, it kickstarted this, long since dead franchise and breathed some new life into it. And yeah, it only keeps going forward from here. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. And if I had to rate it, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. Next up is Creed 2, released in 2018, directed by Stephen Campbell Jr. This one picks up right where the first one left off. Donnie and Bianca are engaged. They have a kid on the way. Donnie has cemented himself as the light heavyweight champion in the boxing scene. But then, out of nowhere, Ivan Drago, played again by Dolph Lundgren from Rocky IV, is back on the scene, and he brings his son Victor into the boxing world, and he has basically just trained him with utter hatred and vengeance for what Rocky did to him and how he, basically embarrassed him in front of his home country. Victor then challenges Drago to a match, and everyone around him is saying not to do it because of the history with Drago and his dad. But Creed, being really hot-headed and kind of rage-filled and wanting to get back at the Dragos for killing his dad, goes in there, gets his ass handed to him, and then has to basically recuperate and find himself and build himself back up for the rematch at the end of the movie. Me and my mom actually did a video on this movie when it originally came out, so if you want to go see our initial thoughts on the movie, I'll leave a link to that video either in the card or in the description. And after watching it several years later, I kind of like it a little bit more than I did the first time. I think it's mainly because of my love for Rocky IV, how much I enjoyed that movie, that makes me enjoy this movie all the more. I like that they were kind of able to almost reset Rocky IV and take this version of Ivan Drago, and instead of having, the cartoon villain that was in the original, have him be this actual properly developed and grounded, character with actual pathos. He's not just, a big scary monster with no lines for Rocky to defeat anymore. He is an actual fleshed out character. He has proper defined motivations. He wants to, build his name and his reputation back up, because after Rocky beat him, everything went downhill from him. His country shamed him. Everyone turned their backs on him. His wife left him. Him and his son kind of had to scramble for survival and everything like that. And now he's basically probing his son to, do what he couldn't, essentially, and restore their family name. And I think that's a really interesting turn to take with that character. And of course, it gives great motivation for Donnie to, avenge his dead father, and for Rocky to become at peace with, not being able to save Apollo, but being able to properly train Donnie and prepare him for the fight. I also like that it takes Donnie 2 fights to finally win. I like in the first one how he gets really badly, brutally injured, but because of a disqualification, he technically wins, but he is still kind of in that space where he's not the same. He's very badly hurt and kind of has to, build himself back up, and as Rocky puts it, when they're training in the desert, get rebuilt and reborn and everything like that. I thought that was really cool. Once again, I think the film looks and sounds great. The cinematography and the editing is fantastic. The fight scenes are great. They're brutal as ever, again, because they are a lot more technical. And yeah, I think just the story and the drama of this one is just so great. And again, the fact that they were able to continue this on from Rocky IV, one of the most cartoonish movies of all time, is very impressive, and it almost makes me want to check out the director's cut of Rocky IV even more to see if it's like how it is, and like if it's any more, I guess, serious, I guess, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. Still holds up after watching it. And if I had to rate it, I would have to give Creed 2 a 4 out of 5. But anyway, that does it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the Creed movies. Which one is your favorite? How do they stack up in comparison to the Rocky movies? And what are you looking forward to seeing in Creed 3 coming this weekend? Let me know. Once again, thank you for watching this look back at the Rocky series. Be sure to check out part 1 and part 2. I'll leave links to those in the card and in the description. Until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on when I'm posting. Follow me on all my social media, subscribe to my main channel. Everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.
No time it'll come, they doubt me. Had to keep them OGs around me. Keep a young homie grounded. You never know where your motivation.